Uh, yeah, so I'm going to do a response to this guy, Bad Mouse Productions. It's his video called "Open Letter to Anarcho Communists." I shall leave a link to it in the description below. Uh, this is my first political video I've done in a while, and I also haven't. I just got up, and I haven't really had my coffee yet. So if I'm stutter a lot and trip over my words, that's why. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this thing done.
That we both hate IP. So without further ado, let's have these questions to ANCOMs, to market anarchists, to libertarian socialists, so forth. Would I have to feel annoyed with the gear that I have bought from other companies if I was an anarcho-communist?
No. Capitalism is not a system you can just opt out of. It's a system that you have to participate in, otherwise you will die. So if you're an anarcho-communist, you shouldn't feel ashamed of having things or buying things, since it's not your choice. You're basically being forced to.
All ANCOMs believe in the labor theory of value. Could I
I believe so, yes.
still give to charity? Do all ANCOMs support feminism? Do ANCOMs agree with taxes? Would ANCOMs...
On the do all ANCOMs support feminism? If you are to be an anarchist, now let alone an anarcho-communist, you're going to be an actual anarchist, you have to support feminism. You cannot be an anti-feminist or a quote-unquote equalist and be an anarchist at the same time, since you're basically denying the fact that women are oppressed, which is bullshit, as we all know. And do ANCOMs support taxes? I guess this is from a personal perspective, but I support taxes in the sense of, in the modern world, it's kind of necessary that taxes be paid. I don't like it, but it's kind of a necessary evil will in a society that has money.
agree that even though they find capitalism to be evil, would they agree that in the relative sphere, in the freest areas where capitalism has been able to get there, it has elevated the standard of living exponentially in comparison to the feudal living, which only created enough to survive?
In the sense that capitalism somehow raises the quality of living, that's mainly only in first world countries. While in the first world countries things get better because of capitalism, in the third world countries things get worse. They get worse because you're using that country, that third world country, as a way to make the first world country that you live in better. And in the third world country, it's a lot worse because of it. Capitalism makes the standard of living much lower in those countries.
ANCOMs support Greenpeace?
I don't know too much about Greenpeace, so I can't comment.
If I am like Michael Moore and I say that I hate capitalism and criticize it all the time, yet make loads and loads of money through my enterprises and my businesses and so forth, am I being a hypocrite? Oh, and if I buy loads of, eccentric stuff and don't donate as much money as I spend on myself?
First of all, Michael Moore is a fucking hypocritical liberal, so no. And secondly, this goes back to my capitalism is not a system you can opt out of argument. So no, you shouldn't feel bad if you make a living off of criticizing capitalism, yet at the same time, and you profit from that. You should feel bad if you yourself are a capitalist and you find a way to, if you can leave that kind of lifestyle and not be a capitalist, then you should do that, because you're harming people and you're being a massive hypocrite. And if you have a lot of money, somehow I don't see how you should feel bad with buying extravagant things.
Do you agree with the minimum wage, even though it hurts some workers who don't have enough skills?
The minimum wage, in my opinion, is a good thing, because it's not just like some businesses in America get away with the minimum wage thing because they live off tips, kind of like waitresses and such. But with the minimum wage, I believe it is inherently a good thing, because people working, they can have a bottom line is like, okay, that's the minimum I can get paid in most professions, so I can plan accordingly. It's not like, oh, the business says, well, fuck you, you're getting paid 5 cents an hour. It's not like that.
Thoughts on trigger warnings on campuses and trigger warnings in general? Do you like?
I personally don't see the big deal with trigger warnings. Trigger warnings basically say, like, if, say the person has been raped, then talking about rape will obviously set them off. That's not a good thing. It's not something we want people to experience. So saying, oh yeah, warning, we're going to be talking about this. If you don't want to hear it, just don't join in or watch this, whatever.
Che Guevara? Do you like?
Very few anarchists like Che Guevara.
Like Russell Brand?
Russell Brand is just a pseudo-revolutionary liberal.
If I were to become an anarcho-communist, would I have to disown and despise all of my favorite libertarian bloggers and speakers like Julie Borowski, Larkin Rose, Jeff Tucker, in a very sympathetic way, Milton Friedman, and so forth, if I became an anarcho-communist?
Absolutely not. That's more of a personal choice. You don't have to immediately disown everything. If you choose to do that, that's fine, but you don't instantly have to by having a different ideology.
Do I have to condone the use of violence in certain scenarios, even though it's not being directly initiated upon me, as I am against aggressing violence because I find it the easiest and most consistent way to stand by? How do we...
Yes, you have to agree that violence is, in some situations, necessary, since in the term of the revolution, there cannot be a peaceful revolution. That's not possible. That's going back to my Russell Brand thing, where he does legitimately a peaceful revolution, air quotes, can happen when it can't. You can't just simply ask nicely for the bourgeois system to just stop oppressing you. You can say, yeah, can you step down from an oppressive position that puts you at the top? Thanks. You can't do that. Violence is necessary in that situation.
Deal with stuff like, high in demand, high skilled jobs like surgeons who might not necessarily want to do it if no money incentive is there to propel them to do it?
If that surgeon doesn't want to do it, what's the point of forcing them to do it? I can see if you're like in a very dire situation where surgeons are necessary, then yes. But in the general sense, why would you want to make a surgeon? Make a person who doesn't want to be a surgeon. And you don't really need a money incentive all the time. There have been studies that have proven that with a money incentive, when people are disconnected with their work, then they don't put in as much effort as they would. They're just there for the money incentive, and they put in the bare minimum to get that money incentive. And so I don't really see the whole money incentive point.
Unions, what are your feelings on unions in sort of standing up for workers' rights and in response to that also sort of jeopardizing everybody else in a sense as well, Winter of 79 and all that?
Unions, not all communists are like syndicalists. A lot of syndicalists are a lot of anarcho-communists are anarcho-syndicalists as well. Some reject syndicalism. Just clear up. Syndicalism is a revolutionary strategy in which to organize the workers through unions. Very briefly. Standing up for workers' rights is a very communist ideal. I mean, it's an ideology of the workers.
I make films in my spare time. Would I be able to hierarchically control the production of that film with other people and pay them to do it for me? Or would that not be allowed? And this is more so just a wondering rather than direct question. Why are there so many few housing cooperatives? Because I quite like the idea of a housing cooperative, but I can't seem to find one. And I'd really like to find one, and I can't. And I'd like to go into one for my next year at uni. So, yeah. So that's basically it. Those were all my questions. There's probably way more than I could have said, but those are the ones I got right now. Yeah, so if you could help me understand maybe a bit more about the ANCOM side, then I'd be happy to know that. Thank you very much for watching.
So that was an open letter to anarcho-communists by Bad Mouse Productions. Once again, I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. He seems very open-minded. I haven't seen any of his other videos, but judging from this one video, he seems pretty open-minded, and I would like to see him learn more about this. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you and goodbye.